Hello guys, I'm back again and I'm here with another tip for those of you planning to move into Canada. I know I give the best tips, right? So if you want to know what this video is going to be about, keep watching. Do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And yes, if you're new here, if you see my face for the first time, my name is BYDALESMITH. Welcome to my channel. And here we literally just talk about beauty, lifestyle, makeup and every other thing that you might want me to talk about. So today's video is going to be me talking about apartment search, how you can get an accommodation in Canada if you're planning to move to Canada, if you're already here in Canada and you've not found this place, and if you know that you have somebody that is moving to Canada, this video is going to be very useful for them. So do well by them and share with them. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, like I already mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the accommodation process here. From my own knowledge, I'm going to be sharing that. I'm going to be talking about general things that I do know and I've heard people talk about, and I'm also going to be talking specifically for those coming to Vancouver, right? So the first thing is I'm going to be talking about the types of apartment that you might come across when you're searching for apartment, and then you can decide if this is the type you want to go for or if that's not the type you want to go for. So yeah, the first kind of apartment is a shared apartment, right? This apartment is basically like a room. That's where I'm in right now. I have a room to myself. I have my wardrobe to myself, but I share the kitchen, the sitting room, the dining room, the washroom. I share all those other spaces with more people. So when it comes to, prices for shared apartment, like the one I'm in right now, you want to budget about, it depends on the area you'll be, and it also depends on the province that you are going to. So for Vancouver is quite pricey. It's accommodation is on the high side. So I would say that for this kind of room, like a room in a shared apartment, I would advise you have something between 700 to 1,000 depending on the area you're staying in. Right now I'm staying in the main Vancouver, so it's the price range in this area is usually about 800 to 1,000, and yeah, you might even see some that would be one to for a room, right? Are probably going to be on the the high end areas of wherever province or whatever province you are going to be in. And some of those kind of shared apartments, you might be lucky that you will be sharing other things such as the kitchen, the living room and the dining room. However, in your room you might be lucky to get like a washroom to yourself. In this situation, price for that kind of setting might be quite different, which may make it amount up to like more than 1,000. It all depends, but all I'm trying to say is if you're trying to get a shared apartment, you just need to budget about 800 to 1,000 for Vancouver. But in general, I believe that 600 to 1,000 would get you a space in a shared apartment. That's it for shared apartment. So the second type of accommodation or apartment I'm going to be discussing is the basement. Yeah, the word basement means somewhere that is like below house level. So it's usually like below the house. I don't know how to explain that, but like yeah, it's basement. Some of them usually do not necessarily have enough ventilation. It would have ventilation, but it might not be enough, and they're usually at the lower part of the house. And sometimes you might be lucky that the basement is literally like a walk-in. You don't have to go through like a stairs in the house then go down towards the basement. It might just be somewhere you can just walk in easily. Basements are usually quite cheaper depending on how it looks like and which area you're getting it. For here, I know I've seen a couple basements for 700, 600. Also, you need to budget around 700 to 1,000. It's also like a room. I know a lot of people do not necessarily like the basements, and I know that a number of people have had bad experiences with basements in the sense that because it's at the lower part of the house, so water from the pipes or whatnot, if the piping of the house is not properly done, and when it's cold it probably gets like too cold there because yeah, it's close to the ground. I mean, that's a joke, but like yeah, so if you know that you're not necessarily like, and then when people are walking you probably will be hearing the noise. All these things are stuff that actually like make basements apartments not so enticing to want to get, but like they are also a type of apartment and a type of accommodation that you can also secure. So the third type of accommodation I'm going to be talking about is condos. Condos are basically like high-rise buildings. They are like appealing. They have most of the amenities you will need. Some of them have gyms. Most of them usually have gyms in them. They have like concierge in them. Some of them have like shops, you can actually shop for things. Some of them have pools in them, so it all depends on what you're looking for. And condos usually range from, depending, 2-bedroom condos should range from like $3,000 to $3,500, and for like a single room kind of condo should range from 1,800 to 2,100. It all depends on the things that come with the condo. So if you have to do your utilities yourself, if you have to pay for hydro, all these things are part of like the condo, apartments, whatever. And another thing is condos don't come furnished, right? Most of the basements and shared apartment, they will usually have like bed, like a mattress and everything, and some do not have, mind you, but most of the time you would usually get like a reasonable apartment for a reasonable amount and it would be furnished. But condos are never really furnished. They would have the basic things like the cooker, the microwave. Some will have like a dishwasher and all that, but like the furnitures, some would tell you have to do your utilities yourself. Some would tell you that you have to pay for your hydro yourself. So yeah, you just need to be prepared for that. But condos are like a very beautiful space. They come with like very nice aesthetic, and they're in a high-rise building. You have like really nice views and all that. So that's all about condos. Another type of apartment I'm going to be addressing is townhouses. Basically, townhouses are just buildings in a city, community, or in a town, so to speak. And these are like buildings that usually owned by people, right? Like I could literally buy like a whole building or own it myself, but then I lease it out. So I lease the whole house out. This is usually like good for families that are trying to move here and want to have like the major comfort. Townhouses are just like around 4,000. You should budget like in Vancouver if you're going to rent a whole apartment, because townhouses are usually like maybe 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. It could be like a duplex or whatnot. So that kind of house, if you're renting everything, it might be going for somewhere around 4,000 to as much as $6,000. It all depends on the area. Like I already said, in Vancouver, houses are quite pricey. So if you're going for something like that, you need to have like a very big budget. But in other provinces, I believe, I'm not sure, it all depends on the accommodation system. So yeah, that's about it. That's about townhouses. So the last accommodation I'm going to be talking about that I can find in Canada is apartment buildings. So apartment buildings are basically like, apartments. It depends on the number of rooms that they have, like the number of apartments in the building. Is usually like a complex, not necessarily like a complex, but like just like different apartments in like a building. So those ones are usually around 1,200 to 1,500. It all depends on the area. It depends on where it is. It depends on what you're getting from the apartment. If you have to pay for hydro yourself, if you have to pay for Wi-Fi, all these things kind of sum up the amount you have to pay for the apartment. So it all depends on the area. Like I said, Vancouver houses are quite pricey. So for an apartment building now, it's about 1,200 to 1,500. However, if you go to certain areas, it all depends on how much the person that owns the place wants to give it out, because most of these apartments are owned by people and there's no law that says charge this amount or don't charge this amount. So it's all relative. And those are literally the 5 kinds of apartment you'll find in Canada, or you can find in Canada. If there is more that I didn't mention, please feel free to drop it down in the comment section. Help you in making your decision on which kind of accommodation you seek and hope to find in Canada.